What happens when the person you trust most in the world, your own daughter, becomes your worst nightmare? In Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, a 78-year-old father faces his 45-year-old daughter in a lawsuit that will break your heart. She's suing him for defamation, claiming he's a confused old man who ruined her reputation with false accusations. He sits there, this retired postal worker who raised her alone after her mother died, and you can see the devastation in his eyes. But Judge Caprio notices something the daughter doesn't expect: bank statements, withdrawal records, and complaints from other families at the senior center where she volunteers. When Judge Caprio starts connecting the dots, this polished professional woman's facade begins to crumble. And the secret she's been hiding for nearly a decade? It's worse than anyone in that courtroom could have imagined. Before I show you how Judge Caprio delivers justice for this betrayed father, smash that subscribe button if you believe families should protect, not prey on our elders. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, because this story needs to reach every corner of the world. It's a gray Tuesday morning in Providence Municipal Court, and Judge Frank Caprio is reviewing the day's docket when one case file catches his attention: Reynolds v. Reynolds, a civil defamation suit, daughter versus father. In his 38 years on the bench, Judge Caprio has learned that family cases carry a special kind of pain, and something about this one makes his instincts hum with concern. The courtroom fills with the usual morning crowd, people waiting for traffic violations, small claims disputes, the rhythm of ordinary justice. But when Jennifer Reynolds walks through those heavy oak doors, every head turns. She's 45, impeccably dressed in a charcoal gray suit that whispers expensive without shouting it. Her hair is styled professionally, makeup perfect, and she carries a leather briefcase that matches her shoes. Everything about her presentation says competence, success, trustworthiness. Behind her, moving much more slowly, comes 78-year-old William Reynolds. He's wearing khaki pants that have been carefully pressed, a button-down shirt that's slightly too big for his thinning frame, and shoes that are polished but obviously old. His hands shake slightly as he grips a simple folder containing what appears to be his only documents. The contrast between father and daughter is stark. She radiates confidence and control, while he looks like a man drowning in confusion and heartbreak. Jennifer takes her position at the plaintiff's table, setting down her briefcase with practiced efficiency. William sits at the defendant's table alone. No attorney, no support, just an elderly man facing his own child in court. Judge Caprio watches this unfold, and his compassionate eyes narrow slightly. Something feels wrong. "Miss Reynolds," Judge Caprio begins, his voice carrying the warmth that has made him beloved by millions. "You've filed a defamation suit against your father. Please explain the nature of your complaint." Jennifer stands, and her voice is steady, rehearsed. "Your Honor, this is incredibly painful for me. My father, William Reynolds, has made false accusations against me to local authorities and within our community. He's told people I've stolen from him, that I've exploited him financially, that I'm a danger to other seniors. None of this is true." She pauses, and her eyes glisten with what looks like tears. "Your Honor, my father is 78 years old. I believe he's suffering from early-stage dementia. He's confused, paranoid, and these accusations have destroyed my reputation in our community. I volunteer at Riverside Senior Center. I have a career in healthcare administration. These false claims have damaged my professional standing and caused me tremendous emotional distress." Judge Caprio listens carefully, then turns to William. "Mr. Reynolds, how do you respond to your daughter's allegations?" William stands slowly, and when he speaks, his voice cracks with emotion. "Your Honor, I'm not confused. I know exactly what's been happening. My daughter has been stealing from me for 8 years. She's taken nearly everything I saved in my 40 years working for the Postal Service. And she's not just doing it to me, she's doing it to other people at the senior center." Jennifer's response is immediate. "Your Honor, this is exactly what I'm talking about. My father has become increasingly paranoid. He sees conspiracies everywhere. I've tried to get him evaluated by doctors, but he refuses. I'm here because I need this court to acknowledge that these accusations are the product of mental decline, not reality." Judge Caprio removes his glasses, his signature gesture when something doesn't add up. Ms. Reynolds, you mentioned your father has made these accusations to authorities. What exactly did he report? He filed a police report claiming I forged his signature on bank withdrawals. He told the senior center director that I was stealing from other residents. He's even contacted my employer. She shakes her head with what looks like genuine sadness. Your Honor, I love my father. I want to help him, but these accusations have consequences. I need this court to declare them false so I can rebuild my reputation and get my father the mental health care he needs. Judge Caprio picks up a document from his file. Miss Reynolds, I have the police report your father filed. It's quite detailed. He provided specific dates, amounts, and even copies of bank statements showing unusual withdrawals. That's remarkably organized documentation for someone suffering from dementia. For the first time, Jennifer's composure flickers. Just for a second, but Judge Caprio catches it. Your Honor, paranoid people can be very organized about their delusions. That doesn't make the accusations true. Judge Caprio nods slowly. Mr. Reynolds, do you have evidence to support your claims? William opens his folder with shaking hands. Your Honor, I kept copies of everything. Every bank statement, every withdrawal I didn't authorize, every check with a signature that doesn't look quite like mine. He pulls out a stack of papers. Jennifer had access to my accounts because I trusted her. After her mother died 20 years ago, it was just the two of us. I gave her power of attorney when she convinced me I needed help managing my finances. That's when it started. Judge Caprio leans forward. Miss Reynolds, you have power of attorney over your father's finances? Yes, Your Honor, for his protection. He was having trouble managing bills, missing payments. I stepped in to help. Her voice is steady, but something in her eyes has changed. Mr. Reynolds, Judge Caprio continues, when did you first notice irregularities? About 2 years ago, Your Honor. I was at the bank trying to withdraw money for groceries, and the teller told me my savings account was nearly empty. I had over $47,000 in that account from my pension and savings. Suddenly, there was only $3,000 left. William's voice breaks. When I asked Jennifer, she said I must have forgotten about expenses. She showed me papers I supposedly signed. But, Your Honor, I never signed those papers. That's not my signature. Judge Caprio examines the documents William has brought. His expression grows increasingly serious. Ms. Reynolds, these bank statements show systematic withdrawals over several years. Large amounts, $5,000, $8,000, sometimes $10,000 at a time. Can you explain these? Jennifer's voice hardens slightly. Your Honor, my father had expenses. Medical bills, home repairs, daily living costs. I managed those expenses as his power of attorney. That's exactly what I was supposed to do. But Mr. Reynolds says he wasn't informed of these withdrawals and doesn't recognize the signature authorizing them. Because he's confused, Your Honor. This is my point exactly. He doesn't remember. He doesn't understand his own financial situation, and now he's created this conspiracy theory that I'm stealing from him. Judge Caprio sets down the documents. Miss Reynolds, you mentioned your father made accusations about other seniors at Riverside Senior Center. What specifically did he claim? William speaks up. Your Honor, I started noticing that Jennifer was becoming very close to other elderly people at the center. She'd offer to help them with their banking, their bills, just like she did with me, and I started hearing similar stories. Money missing, confusion about withdrawals, signatures that didn't look quite right. Jennifer's voice rises. Your Honor, I volunteer at that center to help people. Many of the residents there have mobility issues, cognitive decline. I provide assistance with tasks they find difficult. My father has turned normal volunteer work into some kind of criminal conspiracy. Judge Caprio's expression is unreadable. Mr. Reynolds, do you have any evidence that your daughter took money from other seniors? I have statements from 3 other families, Your Honor. They're all afraid to come forward because Jennifer is so respected at the center, but they've noticed the same things I have. William pulls out more papers. And Your Honor, I hired a handwriting expert with the last of my savings. She analyzed the signatures on my withdrawal forms. She concluded they're forgeries. The courtroom has gone completely silent. Everyone senses that this case is about to break wide open. Judge Caprio examines the handwriting analysis. His jaw tightens. Miss Reynolds, this is a certified forensic document examiner's report. It states that the signatures on 17 withdrawal forms from your father's account are highly likely to be forgeries, not written by William Reynolds. Jennifer's polished exterior cracks. Your Honor, I don't know where my father got that report or who he paid to write it, but it's clearly biased. He probably told this expert what conclusion he wanted. The expert is Dr. Patricia Chen, one of the most respected forensic document examiners in New England. She's testified in federal court over 200 times. Judge Caprio's voice has lost its warmth. Miss Reynolds, I'm going to ask you a direct question, and I need a direct answer. Did you forge your father's signature on bank withdrawal forms? No, Your Honor. Absolutely not. Judge Caprio picks up his phone, something he rarely does during proceedings. I'm calling a brief recess. Miss Reynolds, I'm going to request that the Providence Police Department send someone from their financial crimes unit to this courtroom immediately. Mr. Reynolds, I'm also requesting that a representative from Riverside Senior Center join us. We're going to get to the bottom of this right now. Jennifer's face goes pale. Your Honor, is that really necessary? This is a civil defamation case, not a criminal matter. Miss Reynolds, if your father's allegations are false, then you'll be vindicated. If they're true, then this goes far beyond defamation. Judge Caprio's eyes are steel. We wait. 35 minutes later, Detective Maria Santos from the Financial Crimes Unit arrives, along with Dorothy Chen, the director of Riverside Senior Center. Judge Caprio reconvenes the hearing. Director Chen, Judge Caprio begins, are you familiar with Jennifer Reynolds? Dorothy Chen, a woman in her 60s with kind eyes and silver hair, nods. Yes, Your Honor. Jennifer has volunteered at our center for about 8 years. She's been very helpful to many of our residents. Have you received any complaints about Miss Reynolds? Dorothy hesitates, and that hesitation speaks volumes. Your Honor, I've had concerns. 3 families have approached me in the past year with questions about financial irregularities involving their elderly relatives. In each case, Jennifer Reynolds had been helping the senior with banking or bill paying. Jennifer stands abruptly. Your Honor, this is character assassination. I'm not on trial here. My father is the one who made false accusations. Sit down, Miss Reynolds. Judge Caprio's voice cuts like a blade. Director Chen, please continue. The families were hesitant to pursue formal complaints because they weren't sure about the details, and Jennifer is so well liked. But the pattern was similar in each case. Significant amounts of money missing from accounts after Jennifer offered to help manage finances. Detective Santos speaks up. Your Honor, the Financial Crimes Unit has actually been conducting a preliminary investigation into Ms. Reynolds for the past 6 weeks, triggered by Mr. Reynolds' police report. We've identified 5 potential victims so far, all elderly residents of Riverside Senior Center. The total amount of suspected theft exceeds $180,000. The courtroom erupts in shocked whispers. Jennifer's face is no longer pale. It's red with anger and perhaps fear. Your Honor, this is absurd, she says, her voice shaking. I'm the victim here. These accusations are destroying my life. Judge Caprio stands, and the courtroom falls silent immediately. Miss Reynolds, here's what I see. Your father, a man with no history of mental illness or paranoia, makes specific, documented accusations. He provides forensic evidence of forgery. The police are investigating you for exactly what your father reported. The senior center director confirms a pattern of suspicious activity, and your response to all of this is to sue your father for defamation and claim he's mentally incompetent. He walks around the bench, eliminating the formal distance. Let me ask you something, Miss Reynolds. How much money did you take from your father? I didn't take anything. I managed his finances as his power of attorney. Detective Santos, Judge Caprio continues, based on your investigation, what are your findings? The detective opens her folder. Your Honor, our forensic accountants have traced approximately $167,000 in unauthorized withdrawals from William Reynolds' accounts over an 8-year period. The money was transferred to accounts controlled by Jennifer Reynolds. Additionally, we've documented similar patterns with 4 other elderly victims, bringing the total suspected theft to $183,000. William Reynolds begins to cry silently. These aren't tears of vindication. They're tears of a father whose worst fears have been confirmed. His daughter, the child he raised alone, has been stealing from him and others for nearly a decade. Judge Caprio's voice softens when he addresses William. Mr. Reynolds, I need you to understand something. You are not confused. You are not paranoid. You are a brave man who saw the truth and had the courage to speak it, even when it meant facing your own daughter in court. He turns back to Jennifer, and his voice becomes hard as iron. Miss Reynolds, this defamation suit is dismissed immediately. You have no case. Your father told the truth, and the evidence proves it, but that's the least of your problems right now. Judge Caprio addresses Detective Santos. Detective, based on the evidence presented here today, do you have probable cause to arrest Ms. Reynolds? Yes, Your Honor. Then I'm ordering Ms. Reynolds to remain in this courtroom while you process that arrest. The charges should include financial exploitation of the elderly, forgery, theft, and fraud. And Detective, I want every single victim identified and justice pursued for each one. Jennifer's expensive facade finally shatters completely. Your Honor, please, I needed the money. I had debts, medical bills. My father wasn't using that money. He was just sitting on it. And those other seniors, they were vulnerable. They wouldn't have missed it. The courtroom collectively gasps at her confession. She just admitted everything. Judge Caprio's response is measured but devastating. Ms. Reynolds, you stole from your own father. You stole from vulnerable elderly people who trusted you, and you did it while wearing the disguise of a caring daughter and devoted volunteer. That's not just theft, it's betrayal of the worst kind. He looks at William, whose face is buried in his hands. Mr. Reynolds, I cannot undo what your daughter has done. I cannot give you back the 8 years of trust she violated, but I can make sure she faces full accountability, and I can make sure the community knows that you are a hero for exposing this. Judge Caprio orders Jennifer Reynolds taken into custody. As officers approach, he makes one final statement. Ms. Reynolds, you asked this court to declare your father mentally incompetent. Instead, this court declares him one of the bravest people I've ever seen. He sacrificed his relationship with his only child to protect other vulnerable people. That's heroism. As Jennifer is led away, William Reynolds looks up at Judge Caprio with eyes full of pain. Your Honor, she's still my daughter. Even after everything, she's still my little girl. Judge Caprio walks over and places his hand on the elderly man's shoulder. I know, Mr. Reynolds. I know. Love doesn't stop, even when it should. But justice had to happen. And because of you, other families are protected now. 6 months later, Jennifer Reynolds pleaded guilty to 12 counts of financial exploitation of the elderly and was sentenced to 8 years in prison with full restitution ordered. William Reynolds worked with victim advocates to recover a portion of his stolen savings. The other families Jennifer victimized also received restitution and closure. Riverside Senior Center implemented new financial protection protocols to safeguard their residents. And William Reynolds, despite his heartbreak, began volunteering at the center to help educate other seniors about financial exploitation and how to recognize warning signs. When asked about his daughter, William always said the same thing. I love her. I always will. But love sometimes means letting someone face the consequences they need to change. Judge Caprio showed me that protecting others is more important than protecting your own heart. Judge Frank Caprio's handling of this case became a teaching moment for families everywhere. Real love protects the vulnerable, even when the predator wears a familiar face. Justice isn't always easy, but it's always necessary. And sometimes the bravest thing a parent can do is tell the truth about their own child. If this story moved you, if you believe our elders deserve fierce protection from those who would exploit them, share this video. Like it if you honor the courage it takes to speak truth, even when it shatters your heart. Subscribe for more stories that prove Judge Frank Caprio's legacy, that compassion and accountability must walk hand in hand, and that justice is the highest form of love. Comment below. Tell us where you're watching from, and share if you've ever witnessed elder financial abuse. Your stories matter. Your awareness protects others.